is paramount to survival, right? Would you agree
Yes.
with that? Right? Um, and it's become such a horrible problem. Even before COVID, we are of all industrialized nations. The United States is 48th. United States is 48th in health. 48th of all the countries in the world. Richest, strongest country. 48th in health. So what I wanted to talk about first is overload. My personal overload, community overload. And when you think of different things that you think overload or overwhelm yourself, for instance, what do you think of? What are the things that put you in overload?
Lack of sleep,
Lack of sleep, not enough rest, right?
eating the wrong foods,
Right? Poor diet,
poor health habits.
poor health habits. Um, Also, different stressors of life, right? Financial stress,
Mhm.
family stress. Now we talk about not just a person being in overload, but we have actually the whole world community is in overload right now. So, we have this virus that threatens us physically, but it has a huge emotional toll on everybody as well. Would you agree on that?
Mhm.
So really we have this whole world on overload right now. And what I'm hoping is that when, with you and everybody else who's going to be watching this later, is that they'll have more of an idea of what actually brings them into overload and when they are in overload. Because many times we just go, 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 and we don't realize that we are in overload. And the reason why that's so important is because that's when we get sick. Overload will cause our immune system to bottom out, and overload is what causes inflammation. And we're going to be talking a lot about inflammation tonight. All right. So what happens here, all right, is that we have some kind of sickness or pain, right? And that triggers inflammation in our body. Now, inflammation isn't good or bad. It's really necessary sometimes, but how we deal with it, um, how we deal with it is so important with the outcome in terms of our health. So a very good example of that, all right, is let's say we cut ourselves, right? We cut ourselves, and the body is going to want to heal that cut, right? Right, Jack?
Right.
All right. So the body's going to want to heal that cut, and it's going to send all kinds of material to clean that out, the white blood cells, and it's going to cause inflammation in that area. And if we help and if we clean that out, right, and don't allow that to fester, it'll heal. But let's say we cut ourselves, we have all kinds of debris in there, and it's getting infected, and we just cover that up. What do you think is going to happen?
It'll get infected, and the infection goes in your body and makes you sick.
The infection becomes internal. Exactly. You get sepsis, right? Now, in America, more people live with chronic pain than cancer, heart disease, and diabetes combined. More than 30% of Americans are living with some sort of chronic or severe pain. With that chronic pain, there is always, always inflammation. There's a chronic inflammation involved with chronic pain. Person stuck in inflammation. Now, I'm going to ask you, why would you think, especially in this country, so many people live with chronic pain? Any idea? Look, just throw something out.
Some people just ignore it. They think it'll go away.
Right.
They're too busy, so to
People are
say.
so busy. How do you think people like eat in this country generally?
Not healthy.
Not healthy. How about exercise?
So there's a lot of people lacking.
Lacking, right? I mean, we probably have the highest amount of obesity in this country than anywhere in the whole country.
And it's in kids too. Yeah.
It's true. So it's a real problem. It's a lack of exercise, poor nutrition. All right, so we're just going to kind of look at this inflammatory response. So first we have some kind of invader in the body. And let's say it's a germ, but it could be the invader, could also be some kind of, could even be emotional stress. And what's going to happen, let's say with a germ, first the body will send different cells to look at that germ and try to figure out what it is, right? Then they'll send a message to the brain, hey, this is the kind of germ this is, and the brain will send specific antibodies to fight that particular germ. Right? And with that, we're going to get an inflammatory response. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And we'll see redness, swelling, heat, pain, a fever, right? Now, would you say that if the body responds, if there's some sort of germ or bacteria or virus and a body responds with a fever, is that healthy?
Yes, because it lets your body know it's fighting it.
Right? Your body's actually fights that germ with heat, right? Different germs. That's why we wash our dishes with hot water. You don't wash your dishes with cold water because it kills bacteria, right? So how come when I turn on the TV, I see all these commercials? If your kid has a fever, to suppress it with Tylenol or this or that, right? So what people usually do, or very often do, is suppress a fever. It's the worst thing you could do. You're not allowing your body to express its immunity. And it's actually no different than if you had a cut, all right, and you closed it up, like we said before, and then it becomes internalized. So not allowing a fever to express itself and not allowing the body to do what it needs to do is going to start that whole cycle of chronic inflammation. Right? Now, a lot of people say, well, if the fever gets too high, it could cause brain damage. The only way you can get brain damage from too much heat is if you close your kid up in a car during the summer and close the windows. The body is never going to produce enough heat to actually give you brain damage, even if it causes a febrile seizure. Now, I'm not saying, of course, like if my kid got that hot, I'd probably try to cool them down. I probably wouldn't have the fortitude to let them go through that. But nonetheless, the fever is meant to express itself. Now, what people do with all of these things. How about sinuses, if you have a sinus infection? A lot of people take some kind of sinus medication. What that sinus medication does is it cakes all that stuff up in your sinuses, all that mucus stuff hardens and gets stuck up in there. And that is going to start causing a chronic inflammation because you're not allowing that stuff to drain and come out. All right? We talked about fever. Vomiting is fantastic. People think that they're sick when they're vomiting, but actually it's one of the most healthy things your body could do. You eat some ptomaine, puking your guts out, right? Thank God you are, all right? The same thing with pain. Would you say pain is a good or a bad thing?
It's a warning sign, so it's a good thing.
Good thing. It lets you know something's wrong. Exactly.
Yeah, for sinuses, you should use a neti pot.
Something to help clean it out. Assist with the
Yeah.
cleansing of that, right? Same thing as if you have a cut, you clean it out. But people are afraid to be uncomfortable. And they're taught in our society that if you're uncomfortable, that's bad. I need to stop the discomfort, the headache, the fever, the vomiting, sinus. You need to let your body do its thing. And if you don't, if you keep on treating your body that way, that's how you're going to end up with long-term inflammation. That inflammation gets internalized. So again, there's inflammation, short-term inflammation, you cut yourself, you have pus, you clean it out, that's a good thing, it helps your body. But once it becomes internalized, that's not a good thing. And that is what causes all kinds of disease. So here, persistent inflammation can contribute to most chronic diseases and sicknesses. All right, so we see rheumatism, osteoporosis, heartburn, obesity, gout, irritable bowel, cancer, arthritis, diabetes, heart conditions, all linked to persistent inflammation. So, chiropractic, let me ask you a question. Have you ever watched much TV shows where they show MDs or movies where MDs are like heroes?
No,
Have you ever seen one where a chiropractor was a hero?
no.
No. Right. Do you think insurance companies like to pay chiropractors?
No,
No. Do you think medical doctors like to refer to chiropractors?
they used to not.
Getting better.
Yeah, it's getting better. Years ago, they didn't.
Years ago they didn't, and they generally don't do a lot, but it's better than it was. But nevertheless, society has not been very kind to chiropractic as a whole, the powers that be. And somehow chiropractic has persisted as an underdog for about 150 years now. And the reason why we've still been able to grow and become the second largest healing modality in the world is because what we do works. What we do works. Now, there was a study done in 1975 by a man named Ross Perot. Not Ross Perot. Wait 1 second. His name is Ronald Perot. Right? He's the chief of cancer prevention research at the New York Preventative Medicine Institute and professor of medicine and environmental health at NYU. All right. Now, what they did is they looked at a certain part of DNA that's responsible for immunity. And they looked at sick people. And they looked at healthy people not under chiropractic care. And then they looked at people under long-term chiropractic care. And what they found is that the people not under chiropractic care, but who weren't sick, had a 200% greater immunity than the sick people. Then they looked at people under chiropractic care, long-term chiropractic care. I think it was 5 years or more. And what they found is those people had a 200% greater immunity than the average person and 400% greater immunity than the sick people. That's incredible. Now, there are different things in chiropractic that directly affect inflammation. Now, when I do the cranial work on your head, what we're moving is the cerebral spinal fluid. And what happens is we get a lot of inflammation and toxins from the brain that go into the cerebral spinal fluid. And if it's not moving and flushed out, there are studies that link that to Alzheimer's and dementia. And what they found that people who get the cranial work have much lower incidence of Alzheimer's and dementia. There's also studies done that showed lower inflammatory markers with patients under chiropractic care. So it's showing that people under chiropractic care have less inflammation. Okay. Now, let's just look at what we could do to reduce our inflammation. Everybody, all right? So first of all, as you understand, get your spine and nervous system checked. All right? Don't smoke, drink only in moderation. Cigarette smoke is really just puts your body in a horrible harm with inflammatory response. Diet high in fruits and vegetables. You want sugar. Sugar is one of the nutritional things, I shouldn't even call it nutritional, is one of the things that we eat that probably cause the highest amount of inflammation than anything. Sugar is poison. You got to really keep that sugar down. Really got to keep that sugar down. Now, there's also different supplements that you could take that will help with inflammation. One is a spice called turmeric, and the active ingredients in turmeric is called curcumin. And curcumin is very, very good at lowering inflammation. So are fish oils, lower inflammation. Now, I'm also looking at a product called Protandim, which supposedly lowers inflammation hundreds of times more than curcumin. And if anybody's interested in that, let me know. All right. Stress causes inflammation. So by reducing stress with practices like meditation and getting adjusted will reduce inflammation. Because definitely stress causes inflammation in our body. All right. Increase exercise. Our body is meant to move. When we sweat, when we move, and we get the oxygen going, we get our blood going, this is flushing out all the garbage. And we need to sleep and we need to rest, just like what Jacqueline said at the very beginning. All of these things are all of these things. We say, healthy habits, healthy life. Bad habits, sick life. Really simple. And if anybody wants to talk to me about changing their lifestyle in any way, if there's any way to help, I could help. Please talk to me. We have workshops every Tuesday looking at all different parts of this. That'll help you be happier and healthier. Now, I really hope that we've been on this for about 20 minutes. I hope you learned something in these 20 minutes that could make a difference in your life. And also, most importantly, for the people in your life. Let people know about this. Talk to them. This is going to be taped. Be on YouTube. Let them watch it. So they have a better understanding of what they could do to have a happy and healthy life. We live in a very sick society right now. We could help people. We could help all the people we love around us. So, thank you. Thanks, Jacqueline, for being here with me.
Okay, it was good. It was interesting.
Thank you. And I'll see you in the office.
Next Monday.
Next Monday, and I'll see everybody else in the office too. Thank you.
Okay. Night.
Night.